Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, boy. Pretty incredible. First of all, I'd like to thank President Kelsey and Athletic Director Jennifer Cohen for this incredible opportunity. I feel blessed, humbled, and honored to be the head men's basketball coach at the University of Washington. I can tell you that. This is a dream come true for me and my family. And this dream has been a long journey, and I want to thank some people that made this journey come true for me and make it happen. And it first starts with my family. My daughter Ella, raise your hand. Grant Richard, raise your hand. My oldest son, Griff, and my wife, Tricia. They've been so supportive in a business that, as a lot of the coaches in here know, it takes a lot, and there's a lot of commitment on their part, and they're part of this team as well. I've been very lucky to have incredible mentors in the coaching profession. I'd like to start off by thanking my high school coach, Gary McKnight, who, as a young kid, I dreamt of being a great player. And he was a guy who saw me at this tournament. And I'm not going to say he recruited me because that's not right. But at the time, I went to Modern Day High School, which is about 30 minutes away from where I grew up. And he just believed in me. And he made me a man and made my dreams come true as a player and really helped me develop. Coach Tim Gergerich, he was an assistant back here in Seattle. I used to spend a lot of time back here in 96 and 97 in the glory years of the Supersonics. He taught me what it was, the power of helping people, developing people, and he just taught me so much. It made me love coaching. Thirdly, Coach K brought me on the USA basketball experience for the last 8 years. Our family, as they've sacrificed, allowing me to be part of the World Championships and Olympic teams. Probably the commitment's probably 45 to 50 days every summer. But he's been an incredible mentor, the standard of excellence, and being part of the build and the strategy of building Team USA into being the greatest basketball organization in the world. And lastly, my mentor, friend, and father figure, Jim Boeheim. And he was a guy that gave a guy a shot. He was a guy who gave a guy an opportunity when a lot of people didn't. And I did everything in my power to make that opportunity a dream and a reality, and I want to thank him for that opportunity. A couple years ago, a good friend of mine and my agent, Brett Just, I don't know where Brett is, I'm not even going to show him out. A couple years ago, we finalized a contract at Syracuse to replace Jim Boeheim as the next head coach. And Brett, the great thing about Brett is he's such a great people person, and he understands the game because he had coached. And we had talked about dreams. You know, you sit there and you talk about, gosh, you're going to go to Syracuse, and it's an incredible opportunity to replace a legend and to be there. And I always thought, like, I'm there to protect a legacy, protect something that, I really care about. I played there. I'm an alum, and all the people. I just wanted to protect something. And then we started talking, and he said, Mike, let me ask you a question. If another school asked if you were interested, what should I say? And I said, well, I've always talked to people. I would always listen, because the building concept has always been a passion of mine as well. But you got to remember something about me. If there's something that I like, I stay with it. And I stayed at Syracuse for a long time because I believed in it. So there was going to be a really special criteria from the people. I always say people, potential, and place. Those are the three factors for me. So obviously a place would be where I could live forever. The potential would be where you could win a national championship. And the people that I would work for, you felt like you were a team. You felt like it was a family. That's what I had at Syracuse. It was the family environment. And so a week ago, I don't know, these days have gone so fast. About a week ago, I get a call from Brett, and he says, well, Mike, let me ask you a question. What do you think about the University of Washington? I kind of perked up a little bit. I'm a West Coast guy at heart. Nobody really knows that. But I'm like, okay. My dad grew up about 10 miles away from here. And so one of the greatest cities in the world, a great place to raise your family. I had incredible childhood memories growing up here. My mom and dad were born here. We used to vacation at Lake Chelan growing up. And I spent a lot of time with my mentor, Coach Gergerich, here with the Supersonics, learning and working with him. And so that box was checked. Check. Then I went to potential. And, you look at the conference, the Pac-12 conference is one of the best conferences in the world. Okay? And if you can compete at the highest level of the Pac-12 conference, you have a chance to win a national championship. You're seeing it right now going on in college basketball with the teams from the conference in the Sweet 16. I think it's a great place where when I was here, when I saw the basketball fans here and not having a pro team, I thought was very intriguing. 6 years ago, they won the Pac-12 conference, and they've been in multiple Sweet 16s. I started looking back at the history and the deep tradition and what Coach Romar brought here, leading this program to great heights a few years back, not only as a coach but as a player. And, there we go, check 2. It was over. 2 boxes checked. And then number 3, the people. And I had an opportunity when I spoke to Jen, and I didn't know what to expect. And, from the first time when I spoke to her, it was kind of like, wow. The connection was there. The visions that she had for the program, the culture that she wanted to create, the potential she thought that this school has and can be, and the commitment that she's going to make that happen. You look at the football program, you look at the women's basketball program, you look at the volleyball program, golf program last year won the national championship. It's great success here. And, I just sat there and spoke to her, and we talked about family, her family, my family. She talked about the values, and it just matched. And that box was checked. And one of the biggest things, guys, in this whole process, and I really believe it's the key to success, is values have to align. They have to align. It's critical in the success of anything that you do. So that night I was hooked, checked 3 boxes. And then it was kind of crazy because all I did was, I'm a visualizer, I meditate, I do all those things, but I sat there and I couldn't sleep. My wife would be like, what's wrong? Or, you're up. And I'm going through my mind. I'm visualizing, I'm dreaming, visualizing, whatever it may be, about seeing the heck just booming with energy and this place rocking, being one of the best places to play, the hardest places to play in the country. I started dreaming about winning a Pac-12 championship and what that would feel like. I've held the golden trophy when we won the national championship, and I walked across. I know what that feels like, and I'm visualizing that. Okay? And it was just over and over and over. I looked at, one of the great things about Syracuse, and I see it here, and trust me, I've done a ton of research in the field of the people. There's nothing greater than when you do something great for a city that deserves it and it's right in your backyard. You have personal pride, you have ownership, there's collective responsibility. All these things play a major part in the success of a program, and I felt like I would have that here. That night, and got up in the morning, and I just had goosebumps visualizing about this opportunity, and the possibilities were, I thought, endless. What if? What could this be? Why not? Why not? And so, the last message here, guys, is nothing in life that's great is easy. This is not going to be easy, okay? But it can be done. I've seen it. I've been a part of it. It's going to take a collective effort. I talked to some of the ex-NBA players. I met some of the local players. I've talked on the phone. I've talked to, I had Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul. I had Jamal Crawford the other night at the Clippers game. It takes everybody. It takes the fan base. It takes the alumni to be a part of a winning program, okay? And I'm telling you now, and you got to trust me, I wouldn't be here sitting in this seat if I didn't feel I could make it happen. Thank you very much for having me, welcoming me. You guys have been incredible. And that's it. All right.
Give you a little round of applause. A reminder for media, we'll do a little Q&A session now, so please just raise your hand and I'll bring the mic to you. So, off we go.
Mike, you were obviously in line to take over next year at Syracuse. How much did that play into the decision, and I guess, if anything, what changed?
I think the biggest thing is, and I said it, I thought my opening statements, the most important thing was there was a criteria, and I never, my dream in life was to be the best coach in the world. It didn't matter if it was Syracuse. The hardest thing with Syracuse was I was so close. I was so tied into the community with the people and the fans and the fan base. And, when all the boxes were checked in this one, I'm thinking, let's bring that there. Let's bring that. It's already got a great tradition, but let's bring a winning program. Let's use some of the strategies that we did. Let's do those types of things. And I just think it's the place I want to be. When I met Jennifer, we talked about working together and being a team. I saw the talent on the team. I think they've got Coach Romar recruited great. They've got a tremendous amount of talent. And so it wasn't necessarily, you got 1 year left there. I've never lived my life like that. I've always lived my life trying to get better every day that I get up. I try to learn. I read. I'm just trying to get better. And I just this felt right. I can't explain it. Are you married? Okay, we know the time when you met your wife, And, it's very important for me and for everybody here to understand, one of the most important things, I wanted to go someplace that I felt like I could be forever. And I could build something that everybody had a lot of pride for. That's why I came here.
Mike, biggest question I think people here want to know. Zone or man-to-man? And can you talk about your coaching staff as well, if you can maybe share some thoughts on that?
Well, you know what? The zone is one of the greatest weapons of college basketball. It's like, obviously this year we didn't make the tournament, but whenever you played in the tournament and they would, the brackets would come out, it would say, okay, they put us in Syracuse's bracket. It was like the old Princeton offense. Oh, we got to play Princeton. The zone is a weapon. It's an incredible weapon and something that's won a lot of games for Syracuse. But, I believe in controlling tempo. I believe in if a team plays fast, we can slow you down. If you're slow, we can speed you up. And I think the athletes that we have here and the talent that we have right in our backyard, I think the options are limitless. But I can tell you, the zone will be utilized. It's a heck of a weapon. But there's going to be an unpredictable attack. I like being unpredictable, and sometimes, the zone can be a little bit predictable. Staff, I got to tell you, we hired one of the best. I mean, I've been blown away by Will Conroy, okay? He was our first hire. I'm going to go, and this is going to be a guesstimate, but I'm going to go between 25 and 30 people that I've talked to, been around, who I really, really respect in the business. Even NBA scouts that came here to watch certain players. They watch the bench. They watch what's going on, a lot of knowledge. And I didn't have one person ever say one kind of, well, I don't think this. It was a home run, and I feel so fortunate and lucky. And I had the chance, obviously, we've been spending a lot of time the last couple of days on the phone going back and forth. Sharing ideas, and he's knowledgeable, he's hardworking, and I'm going to tell you something. I've never met somebody with more school loyalty, city loyalty than Will Conroy. I went through the offices today, and I walked into the back room, and I went by Will's office, and it just defined him, and it kind of gave me the goosebumps. It was a picture of him as a player, and he's ripping his jersey over to the side, and it was, you know how a picture says 1,000 words? It said about 1,000,000 words about who he is as a person, what his character is, how much he loves the school, and what he's going to do moving forward. And I feel so fortunate and lucky that he believed enough in me to join the staff.
Mike, like Will, you were described as a gritty player.
Sure.
The guy diving on the floor.
Sure.
And there was an article written today about you battling your players at Syracuse for loose balls,
Oh,
even
yeah.
though they were a lot younger than you were, and beating them.
Yeah.
How does that translate? How will that translate to how you're a head coach?
Well, I think the most important thing is you got to play with a chip on your shoulder. You know, every time when I talk to Will and you talk about the great teams and here and any team that I've ever been around, it's grit. They play with a chip on their shoulder. And so, you know, listen, I was an underdog, okay? When I went to Mater Dei, I was the 6th best freshman and ended up, playing, getting a scholarship to Syracuse. When I went to Syracuse, it was a gift. They were giving me a Christmas gift. I wasn't probably good enough, but they gave me an opportunity. Said I would never play there. I ended up playing. I ended up being team captain, getting into coaching. I've always had to fight for everything I've had. And that's why when I spoke to Will and I did my research in regards to Will, it just aligned. And that's how I want to coach. That's how I want the team to play. That's what I want the identity to be. It's blue collar. It's compete. And when you go out and you want to beat the likes of UCLA and Arizona and Oregon and the teams right now at the top, you got to beat them by being tougher, and you got to beat them by being tougher together. And that's what we're going to bring here.
Coach, have you had a chance to coach during any of this? Have you had a chance to talk to the team, and how much of this recruiting class are you going to be able to keep together?
Well, a great question. I had reached out to Coach Romar. I'm not going to tell you what we talked about, but I have so much respect for Coach Romar. I knew him way back. I'm from Southern California when he was at UCLA, and the highest character of anybody I've ever met, great basketball mind and a great person. And I just wanted him to know that, I'm honored to have this position and that I'm going to do everything I can to make him proud of the University of Washington men's basketball program. And, he was very gracious and great. The recruiting, we're working at it. These guys, we've spoken on the phone multiple times to the team, to the recruits. The poachers are out, but we're doing our fight. Now that we've been working. Will's, by the way, has been incredible. We haven't slept in a couple days, but we're going to do our best job to keep these guys intact. But I'm going to tell you one thing: we want people that want to be here. We want people that are going to have 2 feet in, and in terms of what we're trying to do and what we're trying to build. That's the most important thing.
Questions for Coach?
When did you realize, despite all what was said at Syracuse, that Jim Boeheim was going to be there until the sun went supernova?
You said, oh, what? There's always all these conspiracy there. What was the question? I'm sorry. I guess there was supernova. I thought it was a song.
No. When Jim's going to be there forever, did you, and when did you realize that you weren't going to be there?
No, the plan was intact. Everything was going to be, as stated multiple times. I think the greatest thing about Coach was, having that conversation with him and just him being proud and excited. And obviously he was disappointed, but when I talked to him about my visions and why, it's like anything. It's like when I try to have my sons make decisions on anything, I was like, okay, I'll let you make the decision, but you need to tell me why. Tell me why you made that decision. And when I spoke about the opportunity and the program, and he was like, wow. He did it a little bit differently, like, wow. But that's the other case. Wow, whoa, yeah, But, we were all good.
I have a question for Jen, then I'll follow up with Mike. Jen, you look at the top of the Pac-12 standings. All the coaches are guys who have established programs at smaller programs, established themselves. Not a lot of career assistants from outside programs have had success in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Was that a concern for you at all? And what was it about Mike that made you say?
Yeah, not at all. I mean, his experience and his resume was actually one of the things that really drew us to him. Also, I thought he had a unique experience as a coach in waiting. Mike had a lot of responsibilities at Syracuse that looked more like a head coach, and then you combine that with all the experiences that he had with USA basketball. That being said, you know, he's going to have a learning curve, and we all have learning curves in leadership, right? I mean, I do every day, we all do every day. And so what I know is he's hungry, and I love that. Huskies like people that are hungry. And every great head coach was a great assistant once, and I believe this guy's going to be a great head coach.
Yeah, and Mike, you know, obviously this is a new experience for
Sure.
you as well. You coached 9 games as
Yeah,
a head coach
yeah.
as well. You know, I've heard that 18 inches you move from the assistant coaches to the head coach is the hardest move you can make. And
Well, the greatest thing about that experience was, you know, it was a unique experience. Not too many people had to go through it. But the greatest thing that I learned is what I need. You know, I felt like when I went in there, you know, it was very clear, you know, what we were going to do. And you know, I shared with Jennifer, it was like a wristband that what would Jesus do? What would Jim Boeheim do? You know, in those situations. And, you know, we competed. The kids played hard. And I just learned a lot. I learned about me. Because I can't be Jim Boeheim. I'm not going to be Coach K. I'm not going to be this. I'm going to be Mike Hopkins. And I'm excited about that. And another thing that really got me excited, and I haven't shared this with anybody about your question a little bit earlier. One of, you know, 2 guys when I started with USA Basketball was Chris Collins and Steve Wojciechowski. Okay, we had both been very loyal to our programs, and you know, seeing Wojo take the Marquette job and lead them into the NCAA tournament this year in year 2 or year 3. Seeing my buddy Chris Collins take a school that's never been to the NCAA tournament in the history of the school. When he went there and people were saying there's no way, history. And they went, not only did they go, they changed the culture, he won a game, and Northwestern's back on the map. To be honest with you, when I was watching him, I was a little envious because it was his. It was his own. The team that he brought in, the team that he coached. And like I said earlier, it's not going to be easy. Nothing's easy. But I tell you one thing, we're going to work tooth and nail or, you know, do everything we can to make this a championship level program.
Mike, you talked about wanting to protect that legacy at Syracuse and having that understanding that was going to be your job. The different job here, it's creating a legacy
Sure.
in a lot of ways. Different mindset that requires going in?
Well, I think this. You know what? Listen, the one thing you need to know about me, it's very clear. This isn't about Mike Hopkins. This is about the University of Washington. This is about us. This is about our team. You know, this is bigger than me. This is about us. And that's what I'm excited about more than anything. That's what Jen and I talked a lot about, that team, working together, synergy, same values. That's what excites me. So, you know, listen, I've coached and played, and I think there was only 1 year we weren't in the postseason. And that's one of the years we were on probation. So, you know, my DNA and our DNA is winning. You're around Will Conroy, it takes about 2 seconds to understand that he's 1,000% winner. And, you know, putting that staff together, we're going to put together a dream team, I can tell you that, because that's what it takes. It takes a group of people, like-minded, same values, same energy drive, all moving in the same direction. And that's what we're going to try to do.
Guys, we got time for just a couple more questions. Just a heads up.
Jen, it was 48 hours from when you said that Washington was not going to retain Coach Romar to when you signed the MOU with Coach Hopkins. Can you give us a little bit into the logistics and just because it's an awfully quick turnaround?
Sure, yeah. So just for big picture as it comes to searches, you know, hiring head coaches around here is the most important thing that we do. Our head coaches are our lifeblood. You know, they're kind of the heart and soul of this place. So as an athletic director, we always have to be prepared. And so when we took over, when we were named in this position last May, as it relates to basketball, we spent a lot of time digging into what was going on within our own program, but also really developing and utilizing our network to figure out what was happening within all of college basketball. We studied other programs. We looked at the strengths and weaknesses of those programs. We started talking about people that just knew a lot about the sport and what were some of the trends. And through that process, we also learned a lot about coaches and who was out there and who was great and who should we be thinking about if that we were in a position to have to go through a search. And so that whole process was ongoing and really always is. And it helped me and helped our team develop a profile. And it helped us develop a short list. And that was really important because when we made the decision to let Coach Romar go, we hit the ground running. And these searches, you know, you have to have that diligence. You know, you have to have that vetting. You have to be prepared. But you have to be able to be swift, you know, especially in men's basketball searches. So we were ready, you know, we were ready to go and we went quickly. As far as the details go on the search, one of the things that we're really proud of here is that we run a search that's confidential. And so I'm not going to get into details about who we talked to and when we talked to them and any of that because I want to honor that. It's something we're actually really proud of. People respect us. Other coaches respect that because of it. But what I will tell you is that there was a lot of interest in the job and that there was a strong candidate list and then we got the guy that we wanted.
Coach, welcome to Seattle. I know a lot of Husky fans out here were really excited about the prospect of potentially seeing Michael Porter Jr. play here. A couple minutes ago, Michael Porter and his mom both said that you haven't reached out to them or their family. Do you plan on doing so?
There's no question. Like I said before, it's been like a lightning flash. It's been coming so fast, and getting our family out here. We're going to try to find a place to live for those 3 little children over there. But we've reached out to a lot of people. It's hard because each phone call is about 45, 50 minutes from parents, and you know, we're definitely going to be sitting down meeting with the Porter family very soon, maybe even today.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about establishing a culture where the best players from Seattle want to come to UW? So Avery Bradley, Aaron Brooks, Zach Levine, Jamal Crawford, Jason Terry, are those guys going to be coming to our school in the future?
Well, you know, I mean, that's the plan. You know, I think, you know, part of this is, you know, you got to go out there and you know, relationships and trust build time. You know, it takes time. It takes time. But I can tell you one thing, we will go out there and do our best job to put a product out here that you will be proud of. And, you know, there's not too many places in the country that has more talent here in the backyard. You can't get them all. But I think the biggest thing that I've learned through the success that we've had in the past is same thing. You don't recruit for ranking. You know, you recruit for fit. You recruit for belief. And I'll tell you a story. This is a Syracuse story, and Mike Waters, who's here, knows this story very, very well. You know, back in Syracuse, we were recruiting a kid named Julius Hodge. He was the top 5 player in the country, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, the Orange Nation, it's Julius Hodge going to save the program, we need him, it's, you know, at the golf clubs, oh my gosh, it's internet, everything, Julius Hodge, Julius Hodge, Julius Hodge. And we had 1 scholarship left. We had a class of 5, and there was this skinny kid, about 6'9", that was rated about 100th in the country, named Hakeem Wark. And Hakeem was from Philadelphia. He was getting recruited by St. Bonaventure in Providence. And I was telling Hakeem, they were like, well, Coach, we really want to come. And I had to go back and tell him, this is a crazy story. I said, Hakeem, listen, we got to wait 2 weeks. We've invested a lot of time in recruiting Julius Hodge. And, you know, if you want to come to Syracuse, you're going to have to wait to see what he does. And if he decides to come to Syracuse, we don't have a scholarship. I'm sorry. Hakeem said, no, he wants to wait. His mother would call me every day, Coach Hop, I've been praying that he goes somewhere else. Well, all of a sudden, Julius Hodge decides to go to North Carolina State. And the fan base was devastated. It was like a uppercut and a hook. It was like, you know, just took him out. And you know, because all the coaches out there, you know, like the recruiting, sometimes you get seduced into the rankings, you get seduced into all the other stuff. And you know, Hakeem Wark ended up coming to Syracuse. He was a 2-time All-American. He won a national championship and played in the NBA for about 10 years. You know, there's no really science in recruiting. You know, you got to get the right fit. The values have to align, just like what you see up here, guys. That's what it takes to be successful.
All right, thank you guys. Assistant Coach Will Conroy will be slightly available over here in a few minutes, and then for those of you that have slightly available, slightly,
and
thank you
everybody for your warm welcome. We're excited My family's excited. I'm so excited to be part of the family. Thank you.